Chair sees a quorum and will call to order the Board of Metropolitan Police Commission regular meeting Thursday, November 7th, 2019, at 7 p.m. Actually, it is 7:04 p.m. And we have a quorum. We're all here. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you join me for a moment in reflection. Thank you. On the agenda, the next item is to certify the executive session, and I will certify that only items discussed were those items as posted. I'd make that motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is approve the meeting agenda. Are there any additions, changes, updates, deletions? I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. And has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I would make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes as presented.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Chief or Alex, do either of you have any public requests to speak? Does anyone in the audience want to come up and have anything to share with us? Okay, in that case, then the next thing up is...
I don't see that.
Moa's not on the
Moi.
Well, thank you and good evening, everyone. Because of the reschedule, I had a previous commitment this evening, so if you have anything for me after I bring out these couple of things that I have, just let me know, and I'll stick around for as long as I need to. Then I have the other commitment to take care of. We currently have 2 trainees right now in the comm center. They've been there they've been training for approximately 5, I think, weeks or so. Seem to be doing well on track for the 90 to 120 day range that we're looking for. And they're very excited to be there, and they're doing their very best, and they're really doing a pretty nice job. I'm pleased. That having been said, tomorrow afternoon we are doing interviews for the 6, I believe, remaining people that are in the next process. Jeff Dixon, who is currently in our center, will become a full-time deputy. And the sheriff was nice enough to pull him out of the academy and leave him with us until such time that we were able to get this new crop going. So we do appreciate that very much. But Jeff, I think, will be going to the academy in January, so we will lose him. And then we also have an additional person that the sheriff has graciously given us by combining different monies from different places. We're able to pick up another person. So that'll be good. So we're hoping to get 2 people out of this process that we're doing the interviews for tomorrow. But we'll know that in probably in the next, still probably 5 to 6 weeks, maybe even 7 weeks. The process is kind of a long process, but and involved, but we think it's a pretty good one. So normally at the end, we have some pretty good folks come out of there. The one main thing I want to touch on tonight, and I brought it up before, is our emergency medical dispatching, the ProQA. It comes from Priority Dispatch. And it's something that we looked into because in the past, over the past however many years, if somebody would call in and say, hey, I need an ambulance for this, that, or the other, or something's happening, most generally the response was, okay, we'll get everybody started, rather than triaging as much as we really should have been doing. Excuse me. These protocols are in place just to do exactly that. And the main thing I wanted to bring out tonight was the fact that when people call into the dispatch center now, once the phone rings and it's answered, especially if it's a medical procedure, they're going to start getting questions, and they're standardized questions. They're going to ask you your phone number. They're also going to ask you the phrase, tell me exactly what happened. And that's really important to us, so we'll know exactly how whatever is going on. Well, my husband just fell on the floor. Anything else? No, that's what happened. He fell over, and that's all I know. And he doesn't seem to be breathing. And there's certain criteria that if a person is not breathing, and there's probably 8 others that's called an echo response, and that's something that gets sent out just like that. We don't wait for anything else to happen. The other ones, then we can ask those questions, get somebody started, then come back and finish asking those pertinent questions, your phone number, your address, and that kind of thing. So it's important to know, at least for the general public to know, that they're going to get these questions now when they call in. It's not going to be just an ad hoc kind of a question from this person, and then this person's going to ask it a different way. It's all going to be standardized. And over the last 3 weekly reports, right now, the national queues are doing it for 90 days. People at a national level have been queuing our calls and giving us feedback on those calls. Well, over the last 3 weeks, our, let's see how to put it. We have been hitting really high points with regards to compliance. Really high points with regards to compliance. As a matter of fact, the national queues that are looking at our calls and giving us the feedback said, it's astonishing, actually, how well your center is doing. For no longer than they've been involved with that. There are a lot of centers that have been involved a lot longer than ours and are not doing quite as well. So I'm really proud of the work that all the folks are doing in there, asking the questions correctly, getting the right folks started, and it's pleasing to see, and everybody out there in the general public should be happy as well, because we're going to get the best response, the quickest response, and get those folks that need to be there to them as expeditiously as we possibly can. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to cover tonight. Any questions from anybody?
Yes, sir. I have one.
Yes.
Last month, we learned that there was a shortage of nine correction officers shortage last month. Has the hiring process
That's
begun,
exactly
or where
right.
does that
And there are
stand?
still a shortage of corrections officers. They change, and then I can't tell you in what way because I wasn't involved with the process, but they just had a corrections interview board and a process. I'm not sure how they changed it, but they still are short 8, 9 maybe. At one point, there were 12 short.
We were 9 last month.
Yeah, we were running
Board.
like 12 short at one point. So I don't know where they are in their process. I know that they still have a lot of people in the process. The problem is, oftentimes, like us or like any of our processes, we may have 6 people now. We go through the interview tomorrow, maybe we'll only have 4. Then we get into the backgrounds, and then we maybe lose 2 more. And then at the end, maybe you have 1, maybe you don't have any. And that's been the issue in most of these processes. But I think they're still down either 8 or 9 people in the corrections. So, a matter of fact, Susan Kinney, who's the jail administrator, I spoke with her earlier on another matter. She's working until either 11 or 12 o'clock tonight on top of her duties, her admin duties, just helping to cover in the jail. Wow. So it's, I don't know where they are, and I don't know how long this process will take, but I know we'll be glad when we get that taken care of, because that also then puts an extra bit of business for the dispatch center. When they need to go and feed or something else goes on, then we have to take the doors for them. it's been nice when they were at full staff because we very rarely then had to take the doors anymore. But now we're kind of reverting back to the old. And we don't mind helping, but when the center gets busy,
Right.
then it just, it's a stair step.
Are these both active job postings currently still within the county website? So if someone watching,
Yeah,
might know somebody that's qualified,
honestly,
we can get them to
yeah,
go and
now that
apply.
they're in that process, I don't know exactly where they are, but they won't do anything else until such time this process is seen all the way to the end. And then after that, then of course they'll open it up and they'll put it on the website if they are then taking applications again. Anybody that's out there that has any experience, they really will welcome them with open arms, I think. Even if, normally like us, they don't hire part-time employees. It's just too hard. Takes a lot longer to train and those kinds of things. For us, it would take about almost a year, actually, to get them fully trained up as a part-time employee. But we have one person in there that's come to us from Hamilton County. She works for us part-time and was a very, very quick train up, and she's a supervisor there as well. So that didn't take as long, and we didn't mind hiring someone on that type of a basis. But to take somebody that has no experience and bring them up, it's just really difficult. So that's kind of where we are with those things. It's tough.
It is tough. Tom, thank you for your work.
Welcome, John. Thank you. You have, all have anything else? If not, I will take my leave. And if you have anything, all you have to do, Dennis, you can text me, call me, whatever. If there's a question that comes up,
Absolutely.
I'll be glad to get back with that.
Thanks, Tom.
Perfect.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
Floor is yours, Chief.
Thank you. Commissioners, in your packet, our statistical documents were made apart. 1,425 calls for service for the month of September. Code enforcement issued 8 citations. There were 74 case reports taken, 24 investigations that were lodged as a result of that. 49 arrests were made. We covered 29 motor vehicle crashes, and 35 vehicles were towed. It was a rather busy month for the agency, and November hasn't slowed down any, as you've been well aware of some of the major incidents that have happened. So with that, if you have any additional questions for amongst this department
Chief, I'd like to just commend the department for reserve hours being way up. I mean, our reserve officers are putting some hours in, and that's incredibly awesome.
They are. They've
That's
really
always
stepped up when we
Point
needed
of
them.
emphasis for me, and I love to see that. So.
And we're currently sitting at 5, is all we have is 5 reserves. We've gone through the process a couple of times, and we're running into the same issues that Tom was just talking about with the jail staff, and we're seeing it when we run through full-time position openings, is the number of applicants are just not there. Less and less people are wanting to come into this career field. So it's, but I appreciate that, and I'll make sure I pass that along to the reserves.
Thanks, Chief.
As also a part of your packet, under an old business, we've got some invoices from our builder that have been passed along to you. You should have an application certificate for payment for Graber Post, as well as invoices for our QAW and their associated. And then there's one for our owner's rep, GM Development.
Chief, where are we? I know they have their percentage here, but are they ahead? Where are they on the process?
They're actually a little bit ahead. I think the weather over the course of the next couple of weeks is potentially going to slow them down and put us back on schedule. The framing is complete. It is totally under roof, and the shingles now have been installed. All of the window have been framed in. We're about 3 weeks, I think it's the week of Thanksgiving The Friday following Thanksgiving, windows are supposed to arrive, along with the Sallyport doors. Once those start to be installed, they'll be closing off. If you haven't been around to the back side of the building, the lobby area is all framed in. The archway is there. But that glass front is a special build, so they had to come out and actually do their laser measurements and before they start to build that. So the building company's going to go ahead and just close that entryway off so that once trades get started on the inside, especially electrical, we can get heat into the building, and that'll start to speed up the interior process. We had a meeting yesterday morning at 10:30 where we walked the site. The builder is still saying that he believes major completion will be done by the 1st of May.
That'll be great. Okay, so we need some motions for the amounts of the invoices to be paid tonight. So the first one, Chief, just help us walk through this. First one is the motion for the Greater Post buildings for $238,680.
Graver Post 4. Yes, 238,680.
Jim, what's his name?
This one.
Contractor, state
The
sheet.
Graver Post buildings, the first one. It's way down here, current payment due.
I'd make a motion, we approve Draper Building Post invoice. Do we have an invoice number?
It's,
For a total of 680.
second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, any discussion? Motion carries, sorry. And we have the RQAW invoice.
I make a motion, we approve the RQAW invoice for $3,255.89.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And the third one, I'd make a motion, we approve the ATA National Title Group invoice for $400.
Second.
Is that one that falls under RQAW?
The last one should be GM Development.
That was,
Oh, okay.
cover this.
So strike that motion. Then I make a motion that we approve the GM Development Company's invoice for $5,000.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Invoice is paid.
Council, Commission, next up is the third quarter report on the Officer K-9 program, conditioning program. We went,
SCAC?
What?
Did you skip the SCAC?
no, was it next? Yeah,
This is next.
I sure did. Buzzed right over it. Clicked off the wrong thing.
Child Advocacy Center, Chief.
Yep, I'm sorry. No, the CAC interagency annual agreement is the next up. I apologize. It's a housekeeping. This is the same document that we have approved in years past. And what it does is it sets in motion of our MOU of working with the CAC, the investigations division, and the members that we have on the within the investigators also are a part of the CAC investigative team. So all I'm asking is your authorization to go ahead and sign it, which locks us in for another year.
I'd make a motion that the chief is authorized to sign us in for another year with the CAC.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now the next stop is the Canine Conditioning Program, the third quarter report. Dr. and Megan are here. If you have any questions, they went further in depth as requested. We wanted to see exactly how much our officers were utilizing the program, and I think Megan's done a very nice job of giving us a breakdown of the different types of things that have been utilized, the dogs, which dog did what activities and conditioning programs. And then I asked both of the canine officers to attend tonight if you had any questions of them as to what they're seeing as far as the benefit of the program to the dogs. Personally, I think we're investing in a long-term asset that's going to help us out for years to come.
I'd love to hear from them.
I would too.
Yeah.
Who do you want to hear from?
Sorry, guys.
You want to hear dogs or the canine officers?
Canine officers.
I think I want to start with canine.
Or have them both come up, Chief.
Share the podium.
Going to put you on the spot.
Well, they dressed up for the occasion. I figured they should come up and speak.
They're training tonight, so.
Oh, you can drag them up.
Yeah, they were
too.
supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, but, I'd kind of like to hear, your guys' perspective of what's going on out there with the dogs. I mean, we've got these beautiful animals, and you guys are loving them, obviously, and are they paying for themselves?
Yeah. very much so.
Let's hear how they are paying for themselves. I mean, we used them on 69, we used them on just everyday stops, just give us a brief overview for those that are watching, maybe they don't know what's going on here.
I mean, both dogs are used quite frequently. With Shaggy, with the help of Officer Thomas back there, we've made quite a few meth arrests, with Shaggy indicating on a lot of vehicles during traffic stops. So it's like they've increased our drug arrests since we've had them. They've been certified, definitely. And then with the help of Megan, we've been, I have seen improvement with Shaggy as far as his conditioning. So when he first originally started, was maybe only going 10 minutes on the treadmill. Now, like the other day, like 45 minutes, something like that.
Wow.
His conditioning has improved, which is transported over to our work on the street. So, like, if he were to track or do anything else, his stamina's a lot higher. So, I'd be able to work a lot longer with him. And we're the only county, as far as I know, that does this. There's no other agency that does this. So, if anything, I think it puts our dogs top of everybody else.
And it definitely helps the dogs, so if you have a track that's like 4 or 5 miles, if they're utilizing the treadmill, it's going to extend that time. You guys get our monthly reports, cats, you can see that, like just for Igor, we can go from a 400-pace track, like I ran one that was 900. And if we weren't utilizing that, he's not going to be up to par because we don't, we track, but we don't track it every day, and that helps a lot once we go with the it definitely helps increase the stamina and health of the
Yeah, and it also gives us ahead of any medical conditions that they may have. So,
Yeah, I was noticing someone had a paw issue, and we caught that during treadmill training, which is incredibly awesome.
so definitely, it's an asset that very well utilized right now.
Dogs seem to be enjoying it when they get to have their sessions, and
They're
as much as any mammal enjoys running.
Like, if you recorded what Shaggy did when he originally started, it was holding him in there. Now more so but yeah, like when I walk into the building, he's dragging me. Yeah,
It's the best you can ask for.
As long as there's not peanut butter in there.
I mean,
He
just an
doesn't-
observation, the duck seems to not have a problem with this.
Really?
Squeeze cheesy.
Might be a defective dog. First one to not like peanut butter I know of. But he likes squeezed cheese.
You got them, guys?
Yeah.
So, haven't got any questions. I've got a comment. I just want to thank you guys for working with the dogs. I know it makes the Whitestown Police Department a safer department, not only for the officers, but for the community. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much.
So we've got this canine program that's been developed. Is there anything, do you guys think it goes far enough? Is there something you would like to add to the conditioning or the training? Do you think it's sufficient the way it's written, since it's, a fairly new program? If you would offer changes, what would it be?
I mean, as of right now, I don't think I would make any changes.
Just leave it?
So you need nothing from us. That's beautiful.
So we're good the way we are? Okay.
I'm sure as we go, we might improve and do other things, like Megan's capable of doing a lot of different stuff with the dogs, like there's therapy sessions we can do, or get the dogs to jump higher, work on their cores, other things like that. So we're hoping to incorporate that stuff as we go along, but it took me a year to rub Shaggy's belly. It's taken me like 6 months in order for him to take food from Megan. He's very particular, so it's probably going to take us a while before we move on to the next thing. So it's a slow process, but the process is worth it.
My dog's completely opposite.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Very, he loves women there. He's a very good friend of us.
Awesome. Can we talk to the trainers as well?
Absolutely.
Come on up, guys.
Matt and
Thanks,
Megan.
guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Okay.
You guys dressed up for the occasion at least.
Yeah.
So,
Evidently, I need to prep my handlers a little better.
so as our fine officer was saying, where do we go next with, training for jumping, leaping over tall fences or such, or,
Yeah.
things like this?
They need capes.
Well, Superman is an awesome thing.
Yeah, if I
He
could
doesn't
make them
exist.
robotic, that would be a little bit
Right.
better. But Matt has gone through two kind of certifications in the past, I would say 2 months. He's working on his canine fitness trainer certification and his canine manual therapy certification. And both of them, he's learning, but he also passes on to me that I can use as well. Manual therapy is similar to chiropractic work, kind of just a step down. So we don't, chiropractic work is intense, if you've ever
Yes.
been to the chiropractor. So manual therapy kind of works more with the muscles. So every time they're in, kind of like I put on a report, I put my hands on those dogs. Shaggy's not so much. Igor sits in my lap.
He puts his teeth on you.
Yeah. He let me pet him today. It's all good. But I put my hands on them, check their muscles, see if, just like us, they get knots in their back, so I work on those. Igor's favorite thing, he gets out of the treadmill, shakes off, and backs up to me because I rub his thigh muscles, and he's like, okay, this is good, I like
Not a
this.
stupid dog.
But it all kind of goes back to just making sure they're in the best shape as possible, so when they get that 5-mile track, they're not going to cramp up.
Well, I can tell you by reading, and I read this thing front to back twice today because I was impressed by it, if I'm being honest. Their treadmill times are,
Incredible.
I mean,
Incredible.
no, not me. So what progress you've made with them on the treadmill is just remarkable. I don't have anything to obviously put it next to, but from what I've seen as a human that owns a pet perspective, it's
Doggy daycare does not count.
okay, doggy daycare doesn't count according to the president. But anyway, I commend you both. I think officers are happy. Dogs obviously are happy. Duck in the mouth. I mean, what else? You can't beat that. So I commend you both. Thank you.
Thank you for saying so. And I guess I would just add really quick, through this process of these additional certifications and what we're teaching our whole team, and then Megan is very involved with that. I really see us, like if you make the analogy of these canine officers to professional athletes, like we are their personal trainers behind the scenes. Like we're the ones who, after they go out and and perform their function, which is high-level athletic activity, is going to predispose them to injuries from time to time. We're the ones behind the scenes kind of rubbing them down and making sure that they're ready to go next time they have a game, or next time they have a job to do. And again, we're just building the pieces as we go. The treadmill was one part of it, but again, being able to add this manual therapy and with the fitness training, we are learning steps to actually evaluate them. It's not so much just how much time can they do in the treadmill and let's build that. Like, it's evaluating other aspects of their performance, and we'll be able to keep and target specific areas along their body that really kind of help them achieve their maximal performance.
I say you're training gold medal contenders. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I really appreciate how you're keeping them fit and safe, and the longevity that's going to come along with this, not only for their careers in the police, but as their careers post, because they've been so taken care of during this time that, these are going to be healthy, really healthy animals, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thanks for the chance.
Doc, I know I've told you before, but I think we're extremely blessed having you in our community, having you willing to step forward and partner alongside of us the way you and Megan have. It just, to me, it says a lot about, you and the service that you provide the community. And I know for me, it's a debt of gratitude. I thank you so much.
100% agree.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Commissioners, next up is just a review of our 5-year growth plan. Captain Ralston and I revised our previous, and just to kind of give you an idea roadmap of where we think the department's going to go over the course of the next 5 years. Staffing is where we think that the top level is going to happen. I foresee the department to being somewhere in that 25, or I should say we see the department to being somewhere in that 40 officer range by the time we hit 2025. I think once the midpoint interchange goes in, and that activity that it's going to spur, both commercial, industrial, and additional residential, I think is what's going to drive that moving forward. We believe that you'll see the need for 2 additional full-time officers to be assigned to the traffic crash units, so that there's at least 1 on every shift. I think you'll see the increase of staffing of at least 2 civilian positions. One is a desk receptionist, if you will, in the new building, and one is a full-time evidence and crime scene technician. That can be beneficial to the agency in savings, not having to go with a merit person to do that. A lot of agencies are starting to lean that direction, and grabbing these young kids, both coming out of school that have forensic backgrounds, it gives them that opportunity to get some work underneath their belts. So I foresee that to be a near future. We're also seeing that addition to the canine program, I think that we may be in the need for having 4 dogs or 4 additional dogs within the next 5 years. At some point, I think we're going to need to seriously take a look at an explosive animal, just due to the large amount of commercial industrial that we're getting, and the amount of traffic that's going back and forth, and what we're seeing in society today, I think is going to warrant that. The continuation with our police fleet and lease program. Obviously, with additional personnel comes the need for additional SCBAs and AEDs for our PSO officers. Establishment of our own drone program. getting an officer certified in drone flight, and having one of those available to us 24/7, whether that be on duty or call out. The establishment of an interdiction enforcement unit or ICE unit to help curb the activities that are going on the interstate that will be coming in, around, and through our community through not one, but soon to be 3 on-off ramps and those illegal activities associated thereof. And then the upgrade of our current and outdated in-car camera systems throughout the entire fleet. This is something that's been a long-term objective of ours. We talked about a couple years ago. Everything is just so rapidly evolving in that industry that you almost, you no sooner than get started going down that road and the technology's antiquated. And so hoping that we're seeing that finally starting to catch itself up so that within maybe the next 12 to 24 months, we can look at doing a complete integration of our camera systems from every aspect of input coming within the building, whether that's body camera, in-car camera, security cameras, intersection cameras, and finding that one link that will finally bring all of that to one hub, usable hub, where that information and data can be spread amongst a platform that allows the supervisors and the road officers and administration to be able to do all the things that we know that the capabilities are out there. It's just finding that one thing that will bring it all together and make it manageable and usable. The budget impact, we anticipate you're probably going to see about a 45% increase over the next 5 years, probably with an additional $500,000 to $1.5 million worth of capital expenditures over the next 10 to 20 years. Part of that is that built-in concept of as the department grows, there's areas within the new facility that's going to allow for that, where you're not going to have major expense for the building to be added onto, only for some retrofitting, which from a cost factor should be considerably lower than if we had to go out and build a new wing, for instance, onto the building. So those have been kind of factored in. The rationale behind what we're proposing is the projected calls for service increasing about 40 to 60% over the next 5 years. So we'll see, instead of numbers at 1,400 calls for service, we'll be up in that 2,000 range. Increase in residential and commercial construction inside the coverage area. That's something that we're already seeing as an explosion. I had the building department put together for us, or planning department, I'm sorry, put together for us a list of all of the things that have already been approved for 2019, and then all of those things that are currently sitting there waiting to come about next year. And so I think, again, that's what's going to drive the growth. We're going to be able to gauge this as time progresses, and we see what that building, what that calls for service is actually doing to our growth, and forcing that either in a positive or a negative manner. Obviously, with the addition of the third overpass, we're going to have that increase in passenger commercial vehicles. And as we continue to grow the Perry-Industrial Park and the I-65 corridor to the west of Indianapolis Road, a lot of additional commercial development that's coming. So with that's going to bring all of those things. And of course, with that brings the interstate drug trafficking, and via both commercial truck and passenger car. And that's what's going to kind of drive that establishment, I think, of an ICE interdiction unit. And then one of the things that I've been talking about for about the past 5 years, and we're well ahead of that curve in development, is the increase in the electronic cyber crimes unit. I think we had some investigators who got an opportunity on the I-65 homicide to see in real time the value of what that unit was able to do in a very short period of time, and the amount of intelligence that we were able to gain and in a very short period of time. And so the sheriff even remarked on the fact that, it's time that we all have a conversation about cyber, that it's truly an investigative tool that we now need to start getting behind. Expanded services, additional patrol and enforcement area. That's just mainly going to be reassigning the patrol districts that currently have beats and zones that are very large. We'll need to start revamping those and breaking those down so that we can pull individual statistical data out of those individual beats and zones, like we do throughout the majority of the heavy resident areas that we have in town. That's just going to require sitting down and doing a complete rezone and rebeat map of the 3 districts that are identified for CAD. Getting more active in partnering with neighborhoods and businesses to get Crime Watch programs up and running. We have tried numerous times for the residential areas, and just when we think it's going to take hold, it just kind of falls apart. And I understand that, everybody lives very busy lives and they live lives by their schedules. But for those of you that are at home watching this or listening to this, we need you to partner with us in taking an initiative for crime prevention in your community. You live there, we patrol there, and we know what's normal for the times that we're patrolling there, but you know what's normal for the times 24/7 where you live at. And it's going to require a partnership between both the police department and the neighborhoods and the neighborhood associations for us to be able to come together and combat the criminal element that's going through our communities. Along with that, we talked just briefly earlier about the need for additional reserve and public safety officer programs. The Public Safety Cadet Program is an excellent opportunity for young people to get involved in the community and learn all about public safety. And who knows, it might even spur the desire that they want to move on and become a full-time officer. I know that as soon as we get ready to open our process, we have one of the very first cadets that went through our process is waiting in the wings. He doesn't want to apply anywhere else. He wants to come here. And so I think that's a testament to the community and to the agency and to the way that we operate. And so I look forward to that. And then last but not least is establishing a Citizens Academy alumni. Again, that's some of the people within our community who want to go through a program and not necessarily to become a reserve officer, but learn about law enforcement and the things that our officers do, and so that they can go out there and they can be that support group that we need when things may not necessarily be looking the best, but we know that there's people out there that we can tap into that will help us, blow the rah, rah, rah. And so we look forward to being able to do that. I think the expansion of the new building, once we're in there, gives us the ability to do some of the things that logistically have been extremely difficult here because of the fact that we are a very busy municipal building. And I think it's going to open up a lot of new areas for the department moving into the future. So I guess with that, what I'm trying to tell you is that I believe that as we sat here today, the state of our police department is strong.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And Chief, something that you said to the people watching is that even if they're not sure about something, they don't have to call 911.
Absolutely.
They can call the administrative line and talk it through dispatch and have dispatch help them determine whether or not it's an emergency call out situation or not, but to see something, say something.
Absolutely. And one of the hardest things to teach when we're teaching a new young rookie officer is that seventh sense, and it's exactly what you just tapped on, is that if you catch something out of the corner of your eye and your mind is telling you, hey, something may not necessarily be right, it's because something's not right. And so rather than just dismiss that, we would rather come out 100 times and find nothing than to come out that one time and find that somebody's lost everything. So,
5 years is exciting.
I'm sorry?
It'll be an exciting 5 years.
It will be. And I'll stay in touch, I promise.
You can watch. You can watch.
We're not talking
I will be watching it from
We're not talking
parts
about
of
that.
here and there and everywhere, so at least for the first couple of years.
We'll put you on FaceTime.
I also sent out to you just an information packet. It's not something we necessarily need to discuss, but it's good reading for some of the things that we're seeing, changes that are happening in law enforcement all across the country. Some of it is quite concerning, in my opinion. It's just, I see winds of change coming, and how that's all going to shake itself out, I can't answer that. I don't know.
It's a great read.
It's a scary read.
Scary read, but a good read.
Under other business, our next in the Behind the Badge series is PSO Derek Dieter. It is out, and hopefully you've had that opportunity to watch it. I think another one came out November the 1st, but that's supposed to be for next month. So, and with that, Captain, unless you have anything, that's all I have for the good of the order.
Does anyone have anything? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.